Welcome to the November Outturn podcast, where this month we'll dive into the perfect sherry drams for winter.
We'll talk about a big sherry bombs. That's where you get these big sherry bombs and these custom-made casks for the whisky industry.
And mild peat or peat freak. What's the perfect level of smoke for you this autumn?
Sometimes the way you talk about whiskey, it sounds unflattering to somebody who doesn't know. But if you're a real whiskey geek or you're a big peat head or
that's what you're looking for.
Bombs, that's exactly what you're looking for.
So join us as we unpack the largest Scotch Malt Whisky Society release of the year. Hello and welcome to the Scotch Malt Whisky Society's November Outturn podcast. We're hurtling towards Christmas and we're really getting into the perfect time of year to be drinking whiskey, ideal whiskey season. And we've got a brilliant selection of whiskey coming your way if you're a member of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. Perfect whiskey drinking season. Calum Lawson,
hello.
Many of you might know him from the bar at Bath Street, the Glasgow Members' Rooms. Calum has jumped ship from the bar. And what are you up to now, Calum?
I'm now working for the spirits team. So no longer pouring drams or pulling pints.
Right.
I've done my time with that. Had a great time. The venue was awesome, but looking for something a bit more whiskey related now.
Right. Good.
Here I am chatting to you.
Excellent. Well, glad to have you on board with the podcast. We're going to kick off with our deep, rich and dried fruits flavour profile. These are really sherry casks for the festive season, and we've got some brilliant examples of sherry matured whiskey, right? You know your sherry matured whiskey. You've just been out in Jerez, right?
Well, don't test me, but yeah, great.
Well, I mean, and I think the point is about sherry matured whiskey is there's a world of variety just within that flavour profile, right?
Well, absolutely. And it is funny to think about. We always talked about this renaissance of sherry and how it's going to be the next big thing, but the truth be told, it hasn't really taken off the way people aren't, probably a little bit drinking a bit more sherry, which is great, but not in the way that perhaps maybe some people anticipated. But there's sorry, clumsy words here.
Come on, Calum, get it out.
Spit it out.
No, drink it. But
But so we talk about the cask treatment, and we're seasoning casks, and it sounds kind of unglamorous, but in fact, the flavors that you get from casks that are specially made, custom made, and then seasoned specifically for the whiskey industry are full on and powerful. And like people talk about a big sherry bombs, that's where you get these big sherry bombs and these custom made casks for the whiskey industry.
Yeah.
And we also have a few actually ex-bodega casks in here, which will be much older and probably were part of a Solera system. So they're really, really interesting, but it'll be a much more subtle influence in the cask.
Yeah.
It'll have a bit more complexity to it. Won't be as full on, but having the two for comparison is really interesting.
Yeah. Well, there's so much variety. We've got in this Outturn, we've got Oloroso matured whiskey.
We do.
We've got Pedro Jimenez matured whiskey. PX is easier to say, maybe. We've got STR.
We do. We've got different char levels of cask as well.
Yeah.
I think we were talking about this earlier on, but like when you combine all the different cask treatment types and previous spirit, I think we have up to 70 different types of cask types. It does get quite complicated because we have Spanish oak, which is an Oloroso, but then we've also got American oak, which is PX. Two vastly different types of sherry. PX is the only true type of sweet sherry. And Oloroso is completely different. It's much more full-on, deep, rich, dried fruit, some flavor profile, but
Christmas
all those
cake.
Typical kind of flavors.
Perfect for this time of year, right? Well, we also have a bottling coming out, which is from a new distillery to the society. Obviously, we don't talk specifically about where our whiskey comes from, but it is. Well, you're going to say it?
But there is an article in the Unfiltered magazine.
There is an article in Unfiltered. So if you do read Unfiltered and you read an article about a distillery in France, you could work this one out. I'm not going to mention it, but
I can't pronounce it anyway.
I'm not going to say it.
Pronounce the name of it.
It's Society Cask 157.1, and it's called Toasty, Roasty, and OK. Right. So
I thought I was going to be the barman.
Well, sorry, you can do the next one.
All right. Okay.
So what have we got? We've got a first fill ex Oloroso butt from France.
It's 8 years old, is it?
It's an 8-year-old.
Full sherry maturation then.
Full sherry maturation. 60.8%.
You know, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about I mean, world whiskey is so vast now; it's hard to keep up with everything. But I don't know a lot about French whiskey. This is reading up on this one is kind of new to me, but really, really interesting. I think they use 100% local barley, French barley. I think 80% of that actually comes locally from the region.
Okay.
So that's quite interesting.
All I know is it's the first time we've bottled a whiskey from France at the Scotch Malt Whisky Society.
And this is the first time that you and I are nosing it.
Yeah, and a massive big sherry hit on the nose. Yeah, very much what you'd expect from the deep, rich and dried fruits flavour profile. Robust, great colour in it as well.
But I don't know whether it's just because I know that about the local barley thing, but it is very cereal led as well, and it's maybe not, the sherry's not. It doesn't. Yeah, it's a big sherry number, but it's not completely blow your socks off. I don't think. Yeah. Well, I've not tried it yet, but on the nose, not too bad.
Yeah, not too bad. It's better than that.
I don't mean it like that. I mean like not too strong in terms of sherry.
Yeah.
I would never describe a Scotch Malt Whisky Society whiskey as not too bad.
Yeah.
As in terms of quality.
It's just very Scottish, isn't it? How you do?
Aye, not too bad.
Not bad.
Not
means
bad, mate.
I'm actually doing really well.
Aye.
So that's not too bad. It means it's absolutely brilliant. I think for me, it needs a wee splash of water.
Well, I always had a wee bit of water.
Yeah. Yeah, that softens it up a little bit, but yeah.
I'm getting a lot more fruity notes on it now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're getting candied orange slices.
Yeah.
Quite oaky as well, isn't it? With the quite a young cask, but full of life. Toasted oats.
Yeah, I definitely get the orange thing. It's kind of like marmalade on toast.
Yeah. Seville oranges.
It's lovely.
Don't really know the difference, but it sounds better, doesn't it?
Specific, don't you? You can't just say oranges.
Yeah. It's got to be Seville oranges.
I know.
No, that's a belter. I can see that being a perfect
It's
fireside
nice.
dram.
Yeah.
Wee bit of Christmas cake, you know.
It's got a nice balance to it, I think. Because personally, for me, there's two different types of whiskey. There's whiskies that are enjoyable to try because they're kind of out there or they're a bit different, or there's the style that I would like to sit at home and have a wee drink of. And that, for me, I like sherry, I like peat, but maybe not always like full on.
Yeah.
Or occasionally, depending what mood I'm in. But when it comes to sherry, that's quite balanced, I think.
Yeah, it is.
It's very drinkable. French whiskey. Wow.
French whiskey, who would have thought it? I know. No, that's a belter. So that's 157.1 toasty, roasty, and oaky. The Society's first ever French whiskey. So well worth digging into. And yeah, lots more from our deep, rich, and dried fruits flavour profile. Perfect Christmas drinking. A new distillery from France, Calum.
But not the only one, Richard.
Not the only one.
Coming up.
Sherry and peat are kind of not for everybody sometimes, and I would say even more so when you combine the two.
Tell us everything you know about Trinidad rum.
And find out exactly how much Calum knows about the world of rum.
And as you say, we've got another new distillery release, also a rye whiskey. That one is RW 7.1. Rye Do Fools Fall in Love.
Don't know, why do rye do feel fall in love?
I'm asking you.
I don't know the next line of that song, I wish I did.
Why do birds sing?
Da, 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 da.
Why do birds sing so
Don't know.
Right.
We should rehearse that one.
Just tell us about the distillery.
Well, what I do know is from Michigan, and having a single cask rye is much more what you'd expect from somewhere like America, obviously, with massive bourbon influence that it has, but a lot more unusual for Finland. And I think that when they decided they would do a rye cask, they just did it because it was something completely different and it was a bit wild.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're a bit mad.
Well, rye is a staple crop in Finland.
Well, it is actually all Finnish rye. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, they're kind of working with what they have, and they eat rye bread, and rye is a kind of staple of their diet.
I didn't know that.
They just hadn't made whiskey using rye.
Have you been to Finland?
Never been. I just read about it in Unfiltered magazine. Yeah.
Let's go to the distillery.
Yeah. But talking about rye whiskey, I mean, what do you expect from a rye whiskey?
I think you can always, if you compare it to bourbon, bourbon is a lot more, it has a more initial sort of sweetness, sort of your vanilla, caramel kind of flavors, whereas rye is a bit drier. I think it's a bit lighter and it has a bit of spiciness to it, but it's still easy drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wee bit peppery.
Yeah. And that's why they kind of go well together. You know, a lot of famous bourbons have different makeups of rye, corn.
Yeah.
And depending on what you like, some people like more rye.
Yeah. And more Scottish distillers are getting into producing rye whiskey as well. It's definitely having a moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, good. Well, check out the new releases from these distilleries. RW 7.1 Rye du Fools Fall in Love. But Christmas is also a time for peat. You know, you're thinking a bit of a fireplace dram. You're thinking something a bit sooty. Something that kind of conjures up that kind of the coal and the fire. Santa's coming down the chimney, everything else. We've got some brilliant peated profiles as well coming out in November, Calum.
Yeah.
Tell us about those.
Yeah, well, it's a bit like what we were saying before. We've got a lot more emphasis on sherry and peat, and both those styles are perfect for the winter because they're full flavors. Nice sherry cask will warm you up, but peat, peat smoked, it just reminds you of like a burning fireplace, and so it's perfect just to cozy in.
Yeah.
Have a wee dram. But we've got a bit of a variation in terms of we have 3 different peated flavour profiles.
Yep.
So we have 2 heavily peated, we have 2 medium peated, and 1 lightly peated in this Outturn. One of which is a Spanish oak peated from Islay.
Okay.
And then we also have one of the rum casks.
Yes.
Is a peated.
Right. We'll come to the rum cask in a wee minute. First of all, that Islay whiskey you're mentioning, 53.465. Society favourite, distillery number 53. We see a lot of just, you can't go wrong with the whiskies that we get from distillery 53.
53s are always, we have a lot of people that will come and ask for Islay. It's popular, so but 53s tends to be one that we might have. And it's popular because it's for me, it's a little bit different from other peated single malts because it has, because of the way it's made, it's a much lighter spirit. So it has a kind of lighter, citrusy, floral edge to it, which I think is quite nice with peat. Yeah. Because sometimes if the spirit's full on and it's peated,
it's not the medicinal variety. It's not the iodine. No. I find it. I usually find a kind of like almost like a sweet seafoody note to it. Yeah. Barbecued prawns, that kind of vibe. But really approachable.
It definitely is, yeah.
But this one, 53.465, matured in American oak, Pedro Jimenez as well. So coming back to sherry and combining that richer form of sherry maturation with the peated distillate, it's a nice combination.
It is, and I think that what's interesting is we talk about variety, and like everybody likes different styles of whiskey, so that's why it's so important that we have such a variety in our whiskies. But sherry and peat are kind of not for everybody sometimes, and I would say even more so when you combine the two. I mean, a lot of people absolutely love that, and when you see sherry and peat, it's going to be popular. Yeah. But it is more of an acquired taste having sherry and peat, I think. Yeah. Because sometimes you get those kind of burnt rubber kind of qualities to it, and if you're into peat and sherry, you love these kind of. Yeah. Sometimes the way you talk about whiskey, it sounds unflattering to somebody who doesn't know. But if you're a real whiskey geek or you're a big peat head or
that's what you're looking for.
That's exactly what you're looking for.
Right. Well, that one's called a bold smoky affogato,
which
is quite a good name, I think. If you're looking for something a wee bit different. But you mentioned rum maturation. We're diving into some unusual forms of maturation using rum casks this month. And we're still in peated territory, but with maturation in a refill X rum barrel. So we've got 122.57 short circuit. So shall we have a wee taste of that one?
Yeah, great film as well.
You crack that open. Was it? I don't even know it.
Short circuit? Yeah. You've never seen short circuit?
I don't think I have.
Oh my God.
I've got a lot of gaps in my
Johnny
whiskey
Five
knowledge.
is alive.
No,
But I think people will be shocked that you've never seen Short Circuit.
I only saw Star Wars once.
Oh, Richard.
I know.
Oh no.
I know. You know, some people just have
I'm
gaps.
about to storm out of the room.
Yeah, well, pour a whiskey first. So this is 122.57 Short Circuit, matured for 5 years in a bourbon barrel, and then we put it into a refill Trinidad rum barrel, right?
Yeah.
Tell us everything you know about Trinidad rum.
Is this because I said I don't know? I haven't got a great knowledge of rum.
Yeah.
What I do know about Trinidadian.
Yeah. I don't know.
Rum from Trinidad.
Yes.
Is that it's very dark and it's quite a full-on style of rum.
Yeah.
I didn't look at it when you look at that colour of that whiskey.
Right.
But a rum's another thing that is actually they're always very popular. Like when I worked in the venues, whenever we had rum casks, they were always people quite often ask for cask types when they select their whiskies. But rum is always something that's popular because, like I said earlier, sherry can be quite full on. Yeah. Whereas rum has nice sweetness, but it's a lot lighter and delicate.
Yeah.
And probably more kind of instead of kind of dried fruit, it's probably more kind of orchard fruit. Yeah. You know, stone fruit type thing.
Yeah.
But you still have a lovely sweetness to it. And this is, you know, then you combine this with the peat.
Yeah, it's quite funky, isn't it?
Yeah.
The tasting panel have said it brings a bonanza of funk and fury.
Say that after you've had it.
Yeah, yeah. It is quite funky, isn't it? Quite farmyardy.
Yeah, definitely. It does have farmyard quality to it, which is, again, quite like that kind of thing.
Yeah, sooty. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to put some water in it, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to re-taste first.
It doesn't, on the nose, the peat's not too powerful.
Yeah, you're getting more of the rum notes on the palate, I think, than I was getting on the nose. Let's open it up a wee bit.
I'm getting like kind of apricot and lemon on the nose a little bit here. And actually, when I add water, well, yes, maybe you'd expect the peats kind of dissipates a little bit.
Yeah, it does have that kind of toolbox, greasy rags.
It's really tasty.
Yeah, very tasty.
It's got a lot going on.
It's got a lot going on. The kind of pickles, the gherkins, the anchovies, even. Yeah,
it's got a nice mouthfeel to it and a long finish.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting.
Indeed.
And that's another of our kind of favourite distilleries. Really, we see a lot of good stuff from 122.
Yeah, we do see them coming through, and they're always very welcome. You know, that distillery is famous because it has several different numbers. Yeah. And it kind of gets a bit complicated. The more I think about it, the more I talk myself out of understanding how it all works. But essentially, have different stills and distillations. Yeah. And typically, I think this one is usually peated. Yeah. But that was great.
Yeah, that's a belter for any peat heads who want a bit of rum influence.
Peated rum.
Peated rum. That's 122.57 Short Circuit.
Still to come.
This one, I think the nickname for this distillery is the bad boy of Speyside. Yeah. Don't know if you know that interesting fact, Richard.
No, I don't know if I did. I'll use it in the future.
And the perfect bottle for sipping or gifting with Scarlet Marzipan, a new small batch release.
We'll move on because we've got another rum maturation.
This one here?
Yes. This is Distillery 44.167, and it's called a Rum Drinker's Dram. Tell us more.
Okay. It's from, I almost forgot, the sweet and spicy flavour profile. It's from the Speyside region. It's distillery number 44 is one of the, there's a few, typically in the Speyside, you think of whiskey as light, floral, sweet, easygoing. But there's a few that you would call unconventional Speysides. Yep. And people love them. Yep. This one, I think the nickname for this distillery is the bad boy of Speyside. Yeah. Don't know if you know that interesting fact, Richard.
No, I don't know if I did. I'll use it in the future.
Yeah, you should. typically.
Why is it the bad boy of Speyside?
Well, because it's just what I was saying. It's
It misbehaves.
Well, it's been around for a while, so maybe it was one of the first kind of unconventional ones. You know, it was a bit different. It's famous for having a bit more of a sort of sulphury quality to it.
Yeah.
But often when whiskey with a little bit of sulphur, over time in cask can lead to more kind of floral or sort of pleasant flavors.
Okay.
But it's got an edge to it basically.
Yeah.
And people love that.
Worm tub condensers, right?
Don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
You sure?
Yes.
All right.
That's what makes it a bad boy, because it doesn't have so much copper contact to strip out some of those more robust sulphury notes.
Oh.
So yeah, it's got a different character from what you might expect from a typical Speyside whiskey.
We learned something from each other.
Yeah.
I mean, when I talk about unconventional, there is other ones who I'm aware have worm tub condensers. I did not know that about this one, so there you go.
Well, as you say, this one is also matured in a rum barrel, in this case, Jamaican.
Jamaican, which it sounds really cheesy to say it, but when you're talking about Jamaican rum,
yeah, correct,
is funky.
Yes.
Yeah, but so again, should we?
Yeah,
should
yeah.
we bash.
I'm waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, a different style of rum. So you know, we're expecting a very different style of whiskey.
Yeah. So, but
Well, look at the colour of it.
Very light, isn't it? I can't really see. Oh, I can smell it already. But I've had a few bottles from this distillery, and but I've not had a Jamaican rum cask.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That does have that kind of mix of the kind of meatier notes that you might expect from.
It's a bit more
Distillery 44, but with a sweetness.
Yeah, it's really sweet, isn't it?
Which I don't usually associate with 44.
No. I feel like I don't even really want to put water on this one. And
Yeah.
that's 60% though.
Is it? Yeah. That is very different.
Wow.
Because the last bottling I had from Distillery 44 was like really pretty struck match. It was, you know, not everyone's favourite style of whiskey, but as you say, there's something for everyone. But this is much more sweet and approachable.
I get like plums with this.
Yeah, yeah. Candy, cotton candy.
Definitely, yeah. I was going to say like candy
floss. Oh, that's fantastic. Very nice. Okay. So 2 different styles of rum maturation, different styles of rum, different flavour profiles. This is in our spicy and sweet flavour profile.
This one's in our, it's so sweet and spicy.
Sweet and spicy.
So what did you say, the other way around?
I said spicy and sweet.
Sorry, apologies.
Which is correct.
That's fine. If it was me that's wrong.
Yeah. Spicy and sweet.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. Really nice. So cracking selection, different cask maturation,
Yeah, I think
different
we picked
flavour
some
profiles.
good examples of these different styles of whiskey that we've got in this Outturn, because having tasted them now, they're all vastly different.
Yeah.
They're all excellent, actually.
Right, Calum, we're going to finish off with the latest release from our small batch series. Internally, we call it Heresy, because it's kind of heretical for the society to do anything other than single cask releases. But, you know, we've been doing them for a while now, and we do them because they're brilliant whiskies, they're very popular with members, and when we make a small batch, there's more of it to go around, right? So...
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, obviously we talk about how we specialise in single cask whiskey, but actually, when someone asks you about it, it's a complicated story because there's so much that we actually do. To summarise it, yes, we specialise in single cask whiskey, but we have all these other experimentations. You know, there's ultra small batches, and there's the Heresy projects as well, which are just great fun.
Yeah.
And from a barman's point of view, it's great because when you walk up to the bar, all the bottles look the same, right?
Yeah.
But the Heresy, they really stand out. You know, they've got a lovely, colourful picture.
Yeah.
And I think this looks great.
Yeah.
I've not obviously not tried it. We've not even opened it yet, but just the name, the concept.
Well, it does look great. Scarlet Marzipan. Well, let's try it then.
Let's try it. Because we've had a few kind of Heresy releases that have been big sherry numbers.
Yeah.
Big swirl.
Yeah. Tobacco time.
Tobacco time, which I absolutely loved.
Yes.
I thought that was going to be too full on for me, but actually it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, they're reduced to 50%, you know, so it's not cask strength.
Yeah.
I think the feeling from you and your spirits team is,
They're not my spirits team.
all right, you and the spirits team is that you are offering these whiskies up at the right level to drink and enjoy them, right? It's not, it's a different kind of approach from the cask strength, where obviously it's up to you how much water you add, and some people are like, oh, I don't need to add water, I drink cask strength, you know, they're like kind of macho about their whiskey. You're doing a bit of work, not you, the spirits team are doing a bit of work here to say, listen, this is the optimum level to enjoy this whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, because you know, cask strength. We keep it cask strength because you know we keep the flavour that way.
Yeah.
Without going into too much.
Yeah.
So having something like this is just a bit more accessible for people who are maybe new to the society or just want to try something a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay, so 50%. Oh, okay.
Like, I get like butterscotch on the nose here.
Yeah.
But it is. Oh. It's got a nice wine quality to it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, toffee notes for sure. Apple crumble, you know, baked goods. Yeah, really nice. And this is from a fusion of Spanish and American oak.
Yeah.
Right?
And they're Oloroso. They're all Oloroso. It's a combination of American and
Oloroso.
Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so you had to check.
yeah. So that's a really interesting kind of combination to take these different wood types, but the same sherry.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, different styles of wood. You get different flavors. Obviously, American oak is much more vanilla, caramel. Spanish oak is sort of leaning naturally more towards the flavors you get with sherry anyway. So you're sort of spicier, kind of
more tannins.
Tannins, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, combine the two.
Yeah.
You're gonna get a bit more complexity.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Did you try it?
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't stop myself from diving in. Yeah. And again, yes, like really approachable. And that's what I've enjoyed about some of the other small batch releases, that, you know, they're just like easy go-to drams, full of flavor, but you know, quite easy drinking.
Yeah, it is easy drinking, but it's also quite different from anything I've tried before. And I guess you could say that every time, you know, with single cask, it's always going to be different. But probably harder when it comes to the Hennessy stuff. But when I think back to the other ones we've had, this is still very, very different from previous releases we've had.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, and it's £60. So you know, it's a good price point. Brilliant gifting option, I would think.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes also again with single cask, people can get a little bit frustrated because they'll buy a bottle which they love and then they go back to get it and it's gone. But that's the kind of desirability of single cask is. Once it's gone, it's gone. With these, you tend to find you have a bit more availability. Yeah. So
well, there's 2,798 bottles from this small batch release. So, you know, there's more to go around, but it's still a fairly limited edition. Still, you know, you gotta be quick and make sure you get one, and you might even be able to get another. But yeah,
exactly.
Scarlet Marzipan, brilliant. Okay, thank you, Calum.
Cheers, thank you.
A pleasure to dive into the November Outturn.
Pleasure was all mine, Richard.
Glad to hear it. If you're not into whiskey, we also have rum.
We had 2 different rums released this month.
Yeah.
One again is from Trinidad. I can't remember where the other one was from though. Was it not Jamaica?
I don't know.
I think it was from Jamaica.
Yeah, we've got a new gin from an English distillery that we've bottled whiskey from.
I almost said the name of it, yeah.
Yeah, don't say any names, but an interesting one, and a bourbon coming out as well. So yeah, something for everyone. Great whiskey drinking weather out there. What can I say? Fill your boots.
And the storms are coming.
Yeah, winter's
so
coming.
Hide in the venues or at home with a bottle of whiskey.
Yeah, good idea. Right, Calum, cheers.
Cheers, thanks
All
a lot.
the best, and thanks to everyone
Thank you.
for tuning in.